He says Hamas has killed handcuffed children, likening the atrocities of Palestinian militants to ISIS. Rescue workers still finding bodies in Israel after Saturday's Hamas attack, while in Gaza, tens of thousands flee Israeli airstrikes.
IDF Major and spokesman Ben Walhouse would not confirm midday Monday when or even if a ground incursion into Gaza was about to happen.
At the moment, all the options are on the table. Our main priority at the moment is to stop the attacks. We have to stop the attacks inside Israel. We have to rid the entire southern Israel from all the Hamas terrorists.
He said there's constant rocket fire directed at civilians. There were reports of explosions along the border with Lebanon as well.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. Health officials say more than 600 Palestinians are dead. Israeli officials report more than 900 people killed, more than 100 taken hostage. At least 9 Americans have been killed in Israel. It's not known how many of the hostages are Americans. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby just telling Fox News.
We have been in very close contact with Israeli officials about hostage recovery efforts, about everything, but certainly including hostage recovery efforts. And we're talking to them about resources and capabilities and needs that they might have that we might be able to help them with.
Kirby also says Iran is complicit in the attacks, but that there's no intelligence right now pointing to direct Iranian participation. President Biden scheduled to speak with key allies this afternoon. The European Union reversing an earlier announcement by an EU commissioner that aid for Palestinian authorities was being suspended. Instead, the EU says assistance will be urgently reviewed. GM just announcing more layoffs, now a total of about 2,300 as an auto worker strike continues. Stocks finish higher. The Dow up 197 at the bell. America is listening to Fox News.
Bring smiles to all when shopping online with Dell Technologies Gift Guide. Whether it's for the artist, the entrepreneur, the student, or the streamer, you'll find the perfect gift for everyone on your list. Dell.com/gift guide makes gifting easy with a carefully curated selection of our best tech. Shop now to explore our innovative PCs like the XPS 13 laptop, powered by the latest Intel Core processors, plus this season's top accessories. Visit Dell.com/gift guide today to get a jump on your holiday gift list. That's Dell.com/gift guide.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
A wide variety of topics on the campaign trail.
Former President Donald Trump speaking about energy in New Hampshire.
When you have a donut shop or a food shop or a dress shop, you need heat, you need whatever, you need everything, you need trucks to deliver your product. Energy is so big, so important.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis calling for an American revival, speaking in Iowa.
We will give this country a new birth of freedom so that we can succeed again.
Former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley details how she'd handle Israel's war with Hamas.
No more taxpayer money going to Palestinians or any of the Palestinian organizations that support Hamas at the United Nations.
Also in Iowa, with just 100 days before the state's caucuses.
Fox's Christine Goodwin. Meantime, Robert Kennedy Jr. launches an independent run after trailing far behind President Biden as a Democratic candidate. Russian officials just confirming a leak in a cooling system used to regulate temperatures for astronauts on the International Space Station. The leak is in a Russian module attached to the space station. The Russian Space Agency says the crew and the station are not in danger. The Mexican president plans a formal complaint about truck inspections at the Texas border.
Mexico's President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador says he's going to send a diplomatic note to the United States government to protest added truck inspections ordered by Texas Governor Greg Abbott. President Obrador calls the decision very irresponsible, accusing Abbott of using the immigration issue to play politics, severely affecting cross-border trade. Mexico's National Freight Transport Chamber said 19,000 trucks were delayed at the border, carrying about $1.9 billion in goods Sunday. Governor Abbott says the additional state inspections, in addition to inspections conducted by the federal government, Customs and Border Patrol, are to stop cartels from smuggling in drugs. Chris Foster, Fox News.
An afternoon rally lifting stocks out of the red, the Dow finishing up 197 points. And Lisa Brady, this is Fox News.
Low again at 3-1. Let's check weather for East Central Illinois, Champaign-Urbana and vicinity, and overall pretty much as expected over the weekend. Weather-wise, into the early part of this week, a little on the cool side. There'll be a moderation in temperatures midweek, but fraught with a dynamic system. It'll generate some widespread beneficial moisture, though, from a drought standpoint across the Corn Belt. Yeah, some harvest delays and cool showery weather then lingers into the weekend. Drier next week. Sunny skies, cool today at 61. A light northwest wind tonight, clear. Some patchy frost laid in spots after midnight in particular, with a low down to 36. For the day tomorrow, some patchy frost early in the day, then mostly sunny 62. Clouding up on Wednesday, northbound warm front shower activity breaks out in the morning. More so in the afternoon, high up to 65. It'll be a warmer Thursday, partly sunny. Shower thunderstorm in spots up to 75. Showers and thunderstorms 67 on Friday. Showers over the weekend with highs into the middle 50s, nights in the 40s. For Stevie J Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Solgay.
Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff.
Check. I literally just create madness.
Well, they're up.
I'm going to go off here.
They don't have a great quarterback.
I got to take a break. I'm getting in trouble.
To win the Big Ten, you first got to win the West.
Bad Bunny. Have you heard his name in a while?
No.
Has it bothered you?
No. Defensively, they got to come in with some confidence.
Is that even analytics?
I'm in a parking garage. I'm kind of lost.
Terrence Shannon, Matthew Meyer, R.J. Melendez, Coleman Hawkins.
These trophy presentations aren't over!
I didn't come here to go 5-7.
I'm so proud of Illinois football right now. I'm so tired of Joel Embiid.
We're not taking Patrick Corbin.
I want to bet the Bears.
Oh.
You are Reba McEntire's niece.
Roshan Russell.
Coach Bielema.
You no longer salute to yourself.
What? We got all kinds of things for you here.
There's a lot of glass.
Oh.
Guys, we have breaking news.
Uh-oh.
It's The Drive.
Smack Dogs.
Thunderstruck! Yeah, Thunderstruck!
Oh, boy, guys. Oh, boy. It is The Drive with Tane Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. Derek Piper, Lante, Kyle Tosk.
Good morning.
No Jay Lehman. He's sitting it out till tomorrow.
Yes.
And I don't blame him.
No.
Couple things to do off the top.
Okay.
First and foremost.
Let the party begin!
Let's go.
It's Lante's birthday. So, to Lante.
Thank you. Is there
Happy hour.
Oh, hey. Let's go. Oh. Derek, I'm frying bluegill and crappie tonight and fried potatoes.
Oh, man.
And having a few of that. What you just played.
That's fantastic.
That sounds good, doesn't it?
Sounds really, really good.
I threw it all out the window about the weight thing. Not today. It's your birthday.
Oh.
You gotta have some fun on your birthday. So, yeah, I made it to 53. I don't know. Some would probably say that's an amazing miracle, but I made it. So here we go. I need to take 53 and get myself right because I feel like I'm 73. Achy. Every time I get up, I'm like.
45 to 50 of those years have been an Illinois football fan. So I'd say 53 is pretty good. It's pretty good.
That is true. What's the collateral damage of that?
I don't know.
I mean, that
gives
gives
a doctor on the line.
Gives you stress. It gives you anger, not much joy, disappointment, depression. There's probably a lot of collateral damage to being a Illini fan for that long, and I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
It's ugly, man.
Next up.
Yes. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Illinois is 2-4. Could very well be 1-5. dominated by Nebraska. It's 20-7 on the scoreboard, but Nebraska, I think, turned it over 3 times inside the 20 there in the second half. Illinois, of course, didn't score in the second half.
No.
This could have been 35-7. It could have been 40-7.
It's bad.
It's really bad.
Can I say, when you played this, I didn't know if you were maybe going to go with we're not going to get the number 1 pick in the NFL. Although you still got Carolina.
I tweeted it on Thursday.
You still got Carolina.
Yeah, they're really bad.
They're horrible.
I appreciate them for that, but I'm team Justin Fields.
Yeah, well, and he looked, hey, as soon as I ripped on him, he has been, so just remind me when I need to shred him, and we'll turn things around. Now,
we got Minnesota coming up on Sunday, so
yes.
I'll take that one.
The other thing, I could have played this song because the NHL starts tonight, which is a good thing. However, Connor Bedard starts his career with the Chicago Blackhawks. Mysteriously, the Blackhawks got the number 1 pick. But Bedard starts tonight against the Penguins on ESPN at 7.
Hey.
I want to watch that. This kid is, even though he's going to be playing for the Blackhawks, I cannot wait to watch him on ice. So I'm excited. Every article I've ever read about him, everything I've ever heard about him is goalies, defensemen, coaches saying that there's just not only something special about him, but especially his shot. That it just is, it's a 17-year-old kid or whatever he is. He looks like he's 12. And it's a shot of like Al McInnes from the blue line. He's got a wrist shot like some of the best in hockey. And I cannot wait to watch him play. I hope the Blues destroy him. I hope they slam him into the glass 5 billion times when they play him. But the problem is you can't catch him. But this kid is going to be awesome for hockey, and I cannot wait. I mean, literally, it's given me some excitement to start watching the NHL again. I've always watched it, but I focus in on the Blues. But now to be able to watch somebody else, so that's it.
Great. I hope you have an NHL parlay that I can follow.
Hey, can I throw this out? I won over 300 yesterday.
What?
Yep.
What?
On parlays. I hit 2 same games and just to pick them, a money line.
What the hell?
For real?
I did, and then I found out you can now transfer right to your banking account.
Oh my gosh!
So I gave myself a birthday gift today and put money in the account finally. It won't bounce now,
man,
which is wonderful.
That's fantastic. Cheers to you.
I'm doing everything I can. I golfed today.
You're having a heck of a birthday.
I know. I golfed with Andrew today. We went to Villa Grove and golfed. That was fun. Frying fish. I'm doing everything I can not to talk about this Illinois football team. I mean, Derek, we're right back into the Stone Ages to where we have now recruits that are leaving. The kid from Nebraska, said,
I believe
I'm
he was
out.
the second highest recruit in the class, O-lineman from Nebraska, and he says he's opening things up.
How has it fallen this fast? This cannot be just our coordinators aren't very good. I don't think it can be that. I think that's a lot of it, and I think we're going to hear from both of them today. I think Aaron Henry, somebody tweeted at me and said, this is the Big Ten. This is a Power 5. You can't throw rookie defensive coordinators in at this position and expect to achieve success. Now, I kind of agree with him. Maybe you need to pay your dues somewhere. And I know Brett Bielema is a big Aaron Henry fan. And again, I don't know enough about football to understand all the intricacies or whatever about how much the coordinator's to blame, how much of the players to blame. But certainly this defense is not right, even though it kind of played fairly well Saturday and kind of withstood a lot of what Nebraska was bringing. And then, of course, you got Barry Lunney on the other side. And I'm anxious to hear what Jay says tomorrow about that, because it sounded last week like Jay was thinking, all right, listen, I think it's more about the execution. I feel like we're putting them in the right spots. It's the execution that isn't getting done by the players. You got a first-year quarterback. That certainly doesn't help. Your offensive line is just an Olay group, and I don't understand how that has gotten that bad that quick. So, we praised Bart Miller last year for running that offensive line. We praised Brett Bielema, and now this offensive line seems like it's the worst in the Big Ten, if you ask me. And everything I don't understand how it can go from an 8-win season where things look good, But if you really look at it and you go back to the second half of last year to now, I mean, how many games have we won? One?
Yeah.
Northwestern?
Yep.
So in a what?
Now, you almost won the Michigan game.
You did. That's true.
I know. We're playing
point.
the almost there, but that was probably honestly that was probably your most impressive performance. I get
fair.
it. You went to Madison and dominated Wisconsin, which was a really good win on your resume, and you were able to outlast Iowa in a game you lost to Vito in the middle of that game. But I would argue that you could say that performance in Ann Arbor was, knowing the opponent, one that went to the playoff, was maybe as impressive as any that Illinois had last year.
I'm glad you brought that up because they do. That team does deserve credit for that. I mean, they were a call away from beating Michigan, and really you got screwed on the call. No, that's a great point. Illinois looked really good in that Michigan game against a team that's ranked second in the country now and was considered one of the top 4 teams in the country last year.
Grant, they did, still to your point, they did tail off last year.
They did.
With big opportunity on their plate, and they weren't able to come through.
So I don't understand. I mean, I know that Coach Bielema, and we'll hear from him, talks about, well, we got to fix this, we got to change things. I don't know. I would assume the changes would have happened for Nebraska, and it looked pretty status quo to me.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those, and I don't even want to get into this because it's so easy to go on that path. Well, this is Illinois, this is typical, this is what we do, and I'm just trying to look at it as I cover a team, I pull for a team, and I'm trying to cover it like on a year-to-year basis. I understand all the bad that has come before. I totally get that. I understand the idea that every time we have a decent season, we end up crapping the bed the next season, and we're exactly doing that now. But I'm just trying to take this on a year-by-year and throw out all the, this is so Illinois. And believe me, nobody does that more than I do. Nobody does those statements more than I do where I say, well, isn't this typical? But I'm just trying to just not do that right now and just wonder to myself, was Tommy DeVito that good? That would be a question. Was he that good? Was Alex Palczewski and Doug Kramer, were they that good? Was Chase Brown
was probably that good.
And I agree.
Yes.
I totally agree with that.
And DeVito didn't make a lot of mistakes.
He didn't. Was that secondary just that good? Now, obviously, it was because, the NFL agreed with that.
Yep.
So when you look at this, how much did Sidney Brown disguise because he could come up and stop the run? Your safety could come up and absolutely blast a running back.
Yep.
You had Devin Witherspoon at a corner that basically nobody threw against. He essentially just took one guy off the other team and really the entire side of a field. So with that said, I don't know, Derek. Maybe the normal team losing everything I just talked about, plus getting a new defensive coordinator, plus having a quarterback in his first year, and on and on and on, maybe this is typical. I mean, maybe this isn't just, this is so Illinois. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Maybe if you take all of that aside, and again, before people start ripping on me, I am the first person to say, of course, blah, blah, blah. I don't know why I do it in that voice. Although I kind of do it in that voice when I rip on Illinois. But that aside, and everything that I just described with what you lost and what now you're trying to win with, maybe that is normal that this team should struggle like it has. But man, it's depressing as hell to get just blown out essentially by Nebraska, even though the final score doesn't show it. And Purdue blew you out in the second half. I mean, that you didn't even belong in the same field with them.
Right.
And you've barely beaten Toledo, and you've barely beaten Florida Atlantic.
Mm-hmm.
And you're now right back to where some of those Ron Turner 2-win teams and Ron Zook 2-win teams and on down the line. So I don't know. What do you think of that?
There are a number of factors here. And, I think one of the depressing things is you look at the rest of the schedule and you can't say with confidence we should win this game.
Nope.
Now, maybe Indiana, but even then, can you really with a bold face say we will beat Indiana for sure?
Nope. When's the last time you beat them?
I don't think you can say that. Number one, going in, yes, you lost a ton. I think a lot of what was baked into people being optimistic is a couple of reasons. Number one, the coaching staff. The coaching staff deserved, at least coming off of that season, the feeling that they would develop talent, the fact that what was this defense looking like when Lovie Smith left it versus what Brett Bielema and, yes, Ryan Walters was part of that, being able to develop guys like Witherspoon, like Brown, like Randolph and Newton, and being able to have a front seven that you felt pretty good about. So you said, all right, this coaching staff will be able to get the most out of this defense and be able to plug and play some different guys and be in position to be a competitive winning football team, at least to get to a bowl game, if not more. Beyond that was the schedule.
Yes.
You're going to play Purdue, who has a new coach and lost a lot. They lost Aiden O'Connell. They lost Charlie Jones. Right. Didn't have a whole lot to speak of defensively. And, yes, it was a toss-up game on the road, but I would still say to this day, I think Illinois' roster top to bottom is probably more talented than Purdue.
Okay.
And then you look at Nebraska, year one of Matt Rule, and a lot to replace there. And even pushing forward, the fact you got Minnesota, who doesn't look very good. You got Northwestern. You've got Iowa, who is without Cade McNamara. And even him coming in, you're still talking about a Brian Ferentz defense. But the problem is it's the eye test beyond just what's on paper of a 2-4 record. The fact that we all know that you probably should have lost to Toledo.
Yeah.
Without a 4th and 1, throw it up in the air and hope Casey Washington comes down with it. The fact that you could have lost to Florida Atlantic if the offense wouldn't have been able to get a couple first downs to milk the clock. FAU gets the ball back and could have had their shot to win that game. And Kansas, you were non-competitive. I know it looked better on paper at the end of the game, but you were down pretty much 30 going into the fourth quarter. Penn State, you weren't really in it. The defense played well. And then Nebraska, it's 20-7, but it felt like 35, maybe even 40-7. I think a problem with it is that you don't look like a well-coached football team on either side of the ball.
Nope.
And you don't look like a talented enough football team. For me, that's what I'm coming back to after what we've seen so far is that I think this offseason was a major, major failure. You went into the portal.
I saw you tweeting about that.
You went into the portal. You got Altmaier. We'll see. We'll see what he turns out to be. He's a former 4-star. He's shown enough to me that he has some talent. I know that.
I agree.
And I'm not shocked that he's making some mistakes. I'm not shocked that he's decision-making, throwing interceptions, turnovers, whatever. And, yes, the offensive line that he's trying to throw behind is very, very suspect. But I think that for Brett Bielema, knowing the current state of college athletics, we were talking about basketball, we were talking about football, you've got to go in the portal and be a factor, especially when you feel like you have momentum. You just had
That's a great point.
NFL guys. How do you not end up with a corner that's one of the top corners in the league? Because you said, did you see Devin Witherspoon? He's going to be a first-round pick. Quan Martin, he's going to be in the second round. Sidney Brown, all in that secondary. How do you not go in there and sell it to somebody?
Well said.
We knew the names of Tyler Strain and Matthew Bailey and some of these Taz Nichols, but those are names.
Yeah.
We need somebody that comes in at least to compete with those guys. So I'm disappointed by that. I'm disappointed by not replenishing the offensive line. You just didn't get impact players in the portal beyond Altmaier that has moved the needle at all. So I think that was a failure. I think you can argue, and I'm not saying that he is so far over his skis and whatnot in Aaron Henry, but there has been nothing that says, oh yeah, he was ready. So I think that's another thing where you could have replaced Ryan Walters with somebody, and so far there hasn't been a boost in that replacement. So for the most part, I come back to this offseason was an opportunity for Illinois to capitalize on momentum, to take that 8-win season and try to sell it to other people to fill the places, and I don't think they've done that.
I want Kyle to be able to.
Oh, yeah. That was the third thing. So we had the let the party begin, the sad music, and now Kyle.
Oh, you're about to go blasphemous. That is blasphemous. How dare you say such a thing? That is insanity.
I don't know what we're yelling about.
I know you're ready for this, Kyle.
I saw a couple of tweets, and I almost texted him and said, young man, take that tweet down. Can I color outside the line for 2 seconds before you go all crazy? Lewis reminded me, thank you. NHL starts tomorrow night. I don't know. I must have thought it was Tuesday today. I was wanting this so bad, so thank you, Lewis. down in St. Louis. Maybe he's Louis and Louis. I've fought that for years, but I appreciate that. Dang it! I really wanted to watch hockey tonight. Yeah, Kyle, I almost went dad on you and said, take it down. Take it down. But, and you wrote a great article too. Scathing article. No, I'm kidding. It was a good article. It was honest and fair and truthful, and I didn't know you were doing that. So
we got two writers on the show now?
That's awesome. Guys, so now I'm about
Champagne
ready to,
Room, right?
That's right.
I'm about ready to finish that novel I haven't told you guys about. It's a murder mystery. So I'll be a third writer when that ends. But no, I mean, go, Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, I fired off some tweets on Friday night watching this game that it happens to the best of us.
Yes, it does.
It's just,
I don't think it's anything to be ashamed of.
I was totally kidding.
I didn't do it. I didn't say anything that I thought was personal.
No, you didn't make it
like
personal.
That. Yeah.
What bothers you the most, Kyle?
To me, it's the fact that it's week 6 now, and it feels like nothing has changed since week 1. I feel like I'm watching the same exact team that we were watching in week 1. When we talk about these brutal mistakes that are just changing games, that every single press conference we've heard, well, we got to play cleaner football. We got to get these things corrected. Then at home, you don't recover a kickoff. I mean, what are we doing? That was the.
What the hell?
Put the music back on.
Yeah, please.
That was the turning point in that game. Is the fact that Nebraska goes down and scores a touchdown. They kick off to you. You don't recover a kickoff. Nobody gets on the football on a kickoff. Now I get it was windy, but somebody needs to get on that football.
No, there's 11 guys again, there, right? Yeah.
17-0 game. Game's over. Everyone starts moving on with their night. Half the student section empties out. I mean, that's the type of stuff that should not be happening in week 6. I feel like, the offense, we keep hearing, let's find our identity. Well, there's no identity.
Nope.
The identity is it's a disaster. Yep. And there's nothing. I don't see any rhythm to that. It seems like the first drive every game, they move the ball down the field effortlessly. Every other drive is a total struggle to gain 10 yards.
Are we that? Is Lunny that good at like that pregame script of 15 plays and then totally craps the bed?
I have no idea what it is.
Are we that easily identifiable, I guess, for a defensive coordinator to say, okay, they fooled us those 15 plays, but now I know what's going to start happening.
There's nothing dynamic about this offense.
Nothing.
Play calling, talent, I just don't see. I mean, Isaiah Williams is a talented receiver, but the dynamic, explosiveness, unpredictable nature of it, there's nothing there.
And to your point earlier about the offseason and just a failure to go in the portal, Brett Bielema comes out and says after the game, well, we had some concerns about this offensive line during training camp. Well, what? I mean, what are we – you're a guy that's built your career off of sending offensive linemen to the NFL, having these physical run games. Don't tell me that you were concerned about the offensive line in the preseason and nothing was done about it.
Did they try?
I mean, they got Avery
Jones
and didn't get him. But
you know what? That's
the offensive line has been the detractor of the entire offense. I mean, the fact that Luke Altmaier, I barely blame. I mean, I think Luke Altmaier's had some really bad mistakes, but I put he on the blame list. He's almost at the bottom, like next to Isaiah Williams, because he's running for his life on every drop back. He has no time to throw. Illinois runs for 19 carries for 21 yards against Nebraska.
That's disgusting.
A Brett Bielema team averaged 1.1 yards a carry. Couldn't get an inch twice at the goal line.
Oh,
I mean, I think
that opening drive was maddening.
Oh.
The end of it. I mean, it was a good drive up until getting to the 1 yard line.
I think Chase Brown, if you go back and watch games last year, he would have to avoid a tackle early, and he was strong enough, quick enough to get through it. And then once he got into that second, what do they call that?
Second level.
Second level, then he was at his best, right? Mm-hmm. And so I feel like now, not only is your offensive line not better than last year, where you were still giving up some point of contact hits, essentially, that Chase could kind of make up for. Now all of a sudden you've got not a very good line, and you're throwing kind of bigger guys out there to go against it in terms of running backs, and even Reggie Love, and I know he didn't, but they're not able to break that first initial like Chase Brown was, and I don't know who this kid is coming from Arizona. In other words, I know who it is, but I don't know how good he's going to be, but I almost just would rather have speed than to rely. And I'm not saying that I'm not looking forward to watching Caden Fagan in an Illini uniform, and hopefully Josh McCray turns around. But
I would have looked forward to seeing him
on
third
the
and
goal line,
or fourth and goal.
That makes no sense whatsoever. Josh McCray didn't play, right? So why is Caden Fagan, that is your automatic, put him in if you're going to run the plays you did, unless you're doing some, juice comes across and he takes the snap directly, or Luke takes the snap and flips it to Juice. I mean, did we see any of that even? And that used to be the only way we could score, was that little play. Just a wide receiver, I don't even know what you call that. I guess a wide receiver screen where he's coming across, and I don't know.
What do you guys think? I mean, I think it's obvious that this team probably on paper is more talented than what they've shown. But how much do you think talent on the whole is lacking? To my point about the offseason, what they could have added, it just seems like this team doesn't have speed. This team just on the whole, outside of maybe Randolph and Newton and obviously Isaiah, but just seems like it's lacking in a pretty big way.
Kyle, you go with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
if they're better coached, whether it be coordinators, Brett Bielema, are they a bowl team? Are they a 7-win team? Are they what people thought they were? Or are we learning now this team just – there are, of course, multiple factors here, but I feel like talent is definitely one that's jumping up the page, in my opinion.
I think they're definitely more talented than a team that's gotten just blown out in all 4 Power 5 games. I think there's better talent, especially like a Johnny Newton and Keith Randolph in the middle of your defense, and that's not a team that should be giving up 44 points to Purdue last week and struggling to close out Toledo. I do think that at certain positions, like I think we definitely undervalued, like Lon said earlier, the secondary, losing all those guys, just replacing them with a bunch of young, inexperienced secondary pieces. I think there's a lack of talent on the back end of this defense. I think there's a lack of talent at the linebacker position. I think like Gabe Akis and Seth Coleman are very talented players that are doing nothing. So I don't think that's a talent issue. I don't know whose fault that is, if that's just they're just both playing terribly this year. But I mean, have you seen either one of them shown up all year? And they were really good players last year. I don't know. And the offensive line, I do think that I think that there's a definite yes. Brett Bielema would even admit it to you. It's probably the talent in that offensive line room is probably the worst that he's had as a head coach.
Yeah. And you got injuries now.
Yeah, for sure. And I think talent outside of Isaiah Williams. Now, look, I mean, when you look at the fact of beyond Isaiah, Casey Washington, I get it. He can make some tough contested catches, but Pat Bryant's been a disappointment. The pass catching options are not nearly as talented as some other teams in the Big Ten, for sure. I mean, no knock on Griffin Moore, but I would have never, if you would have asked me in the offseason, what's Griffin Moore going to do? I was like, where's he going to play?
Yeah, exactly. I was reading this, the U of I line and like text line. Ken was like, the worst part of that kickoff was half the fans by me didn't understand why Nebraska kept the ball if they recovered it. I think that's just kind of funny. You know, in the old days when I would complain about Illinois, it was just always so slow. It seems like I turn on other college football games and it looks different.
I mean, it is different.
It just looks different. And I know a lot of times in the West, like I may turn on a Minnesota Northwestern game and it looks the same.
Yeah.
But I will watch just other football sometimes and I'm like, it just doesn't. And I know that's not all that it's completely different. But I know I'm probably more scolding as I'm watching Illinois. I don't know. It's really frustrating. And you know, Brett talked about, and somebody mentioned this as well, that, you know, didn't Brett kind of hint at this last year with the offensive line? You've got these young kids that you're trying to, now you have to throw in and play. And it's like they are essentially the offensive line is tough to be good as a freshman, right? I mean, it's tough to be good as a sophomore when you're going against bigger guys. The ideal thing is to redshirt an offensive lineman, and by the time they're a junior, which would be 3 years of eligibility, now you start plugging them in, and then the next guy up has already been in your program for 2 or 3 years, and now then you plug him in to close him out. I truly believe that the Wisconsins and the Iowas who have figured this out, that's what they've done, right? They have built that depth on that offensive line. But there again, it goes back to the portal thing. And I think, JUCO-wise, I think Adams and Chrysler, you were expecting better things out of this season. They seem to have it figured out last year. But again, I don't know, again, how good was Palczewski and how good was Kramer on that line? How good is the center? Let's be simple. If they would have gotten
Kramer's been 2 years, right?
Oh, that's been 2 years. That's right.
Pilstrom.
It was Pilstrom
center last
year. That's right.
Yeah.
My fault. So you look at that, and I don't know when that depth finally arrives in terms of the offensive line. I feel like by next year you ought to have that starting. You may just have to go out and find starters this offseason. And, Brad Underwood's had to do that quite a bit. I think that's what Brett Bielema's going to have to do.
I mean, to be honest with you, it is early enough in Brett's tenure that I understand it to an extent, but he hasn't recruited at a super high level.
No, he has not.
He's not had top half recruiting classes in terms of the Big Ten for the most part through these first couple of years. And when you go into the portal and aren't able to make a lot of things happen, that's a missed opportunity just based on that's something that all other, especially Power 5 programs are afforded.
Yes.
And one thing that I knew about Nebraska when I was looking through their stuff during the offseason, like Matt Rule went and got like 4 or 5 guys on defense just from the SEC. Now, have they done a whole lot? Maybe not, but they're SEC level talent coming in, and all of a sudden they leave the Big Ten and rush defense. They don't give up over 100 yards per game in rushing. So I feel like Illinois had a head start with having guys like Randolph and Newton, and you go on offense and you have Isaiah Williams, but there are holes, obviously. It just felt like it might have been easier to rebuild the defense if you were able to make a couple splashes in the portal in the secondary. You go offensively, maybe a couple offensive linemen. I'm not trying to oversimplify, and like this could have been a 10-win team if you made 4 additions, but I feel like
we missed.
I think it was a big miss.
Our staff missed. They thought that, and I understand that Matt Bailey's hurt, but he's not making up that much of ground. I mean, come on.
No.
So I think they maybe just thought we've got the guys in place that can still win football games. And now they're sitting there, I would assume, going into week 6 saying we don't have the guys in place to win football games, especially against a Maryland team that is going to probably destroy you.
I can't believe the spread's 12.
I can't either.
I think those numbers should be flipped. I think it's 21 at minimum.
Yeah. So, I it may have just been that this staff, maybe they got high on themselves and thought, oh, well, look, we can grow this talent. We can, and I'm not saying they can't. I'm not full blown ready
fire
to
everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not to that point. But certainly it's weird that this is what, year 3?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of, first of all, I think Brett Bielema and that staff, I think they underperformed in year 1. I think that was a bowl team. And I'll go to my grave thinking that team should have won 6 games.
Yeah.
So technically you're in year 3 now, and unless this wildly changes, which it's not, I feel like your coaching staff has let you down 2 out of 3 years.
It's true.
And then last year, I think they overperformed. I think the coaching staff did a wonderful job. I think you had some studs, and you saw that. But I also give credit to Lunny for putting DeVito in positions to be accurate. I think there's certain things. We can't just go blow it down, in terms of just shred them. But
to go to what used to be known as the Outback Bowl is a big deal.
That's a big deal.
It's a big deal. Should they have been a 10-win team? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They should have beat Indiana.
Yes.
And give them 1 win of Michigan State, Purdue, and that late loss to Michigan.
Yep.
Give them one of those. They're a 10-win team.
Playing in Indy.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really, and that was what I was going to say. It's that I didn't expect, I don't think, with this staff, and especially after what you did last year, I didn't expect this depression mode that I feel for this team right now in terms of, like, I have zero confidence. Zero in this team that they're going to do anything that great the rest of the season.
No, they might win another game.
Right. So to go into that mode this quick after following up on an 8-win season, I'll put it this way. I didn't want to get to that point with Brett Bielema and his staff. But I'm there. Now, that's just a Lon Tay problem. That's nobody else's problem. Other people might think, well, Lon, you go depressed. You go be depressed over here by the tree. We're fine. I think we're going to be fine. I think we're going to turn this around. Altmile's only a sophomore. You got Malik Elzy. You got some studs that are coming up. And I hope that's the case. But like you said in your article, Kyle, and a lot of people have said, this thing ain't getting easier. This was your easy part right here.
Yes.
The last 2 years were your easy part. Now you're just adding Oregon to the schedule, a Washington team that is a lot better than you think, and a program that's a lot better than you think.
I think you play Purdue, or you play Penn State again.
Yep.
Purdue in year 2 of a rebuild, Wisconsin in year 2 of a rebuild.
I think.
Or maybe Nebraska.
It's doable next year. I mean, the schedule is doable to win 6 games, but you better be a lot better than what you are.
That's the other thing. Like, you're sacrificing one more go of Randolph and Newton. They're gone. I know Jeremy Warner's wrote this on Atlanta Inquirer. Like, he thinks Isaiah Williams is going. Like, you're leading the Big Ten in receiving.
Yep.
Then he's gone.
Yep.
So losing those guys, I mean, that makes it even more of a task to try to fill those. Those are some of the few bright spots on this team.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt.
And I'm not super confident that the next guys up are stars in the making. I'm not discounting Brett Bielema's developmental skills, but I already think this roster isn't talented enough, and I can't just, other than Malik Elzy, who I knew was a highly talented recruit, give him another year, and I do think he'll be a very nice piece at receiver. But for the most part, I think that, do you have enough talent then to cycle through and say, all right, these are the next guys beyond Newton and Randolph who are going to come be big-time players, all Big Ten players on the front line? I don't know that.
It's scary. I know 217 asked about the NIL needing to get better, and he brought up the Utah thing that they bought all their players trucks. Well, your NIL stepped up with Johnny Newton and Keith Randolph, and I'm guessing what you're paying those guys, you could buy a lot of trucks. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm guessing that, yeah, I mean, that's impressive what Utah did. That's great. I don't think that the NIL is that much of an issue. I've always, when I talk to those that are more in the know in the NIL, I feel like Illinois isn't exactly falling behind in that. I feel like they're
definitely
doing a pretty good job.
Basketball. In basketball, they're pretty strong. Football-wise, I don't know it as well, but to be able to convince Newton had a legit chance to get drafted in a desirable position. Like, Randolph probably needed to come back.
Yes.
Like, he could have gotten picked, don't get me wrong, but in terms of one more season could have made him a pretty big leap in the draft. It made most sense for him to come back, but I know they had to pay up to get Newton to do that, and for Randolph as well.
Yeah.
But I think it's something that needs to be thought about, because I think there's that many needs this offseason. This has to be a really big offseason to go out there and have quite a portal haul, in my opinion.
Well, I think you're going to get a lot of money. In other words, if the pot's equal next year, you're going to have a lot that you've given to those two that you can disperse. I would assume. But Kyle, you were able to get Aaron Henry and Barry Lunny.
Yep.
Do we want to hear Coach B when we come back, or I kind of want to hear from the coordinators?
We can do that. We got a lot to do. We went strong in this first segment.
Did.
40-plus minutes. The phone line's ringing. Someone is very determined to get a hold of us.
Maybe Luke is ready to get this over with. He's like, I'll just join you now.
We'll have Kyle answer that and see who that is.
Exactly.
But, appreciate all those that have weighed in the U of I Atlanta Link text line, 217-359-2255. You still want to get in your thoughts. We will, of course, read some of those as we go along. Like Lon said, we have both coordinators, Barry Lunny Jr., Aaron Henry, and Brett Bielema met with the media today to play that for you as well. Hit us up with your thoughts, what you're thinking on a variety. There's so many angles to break this thing down, and yes, they're all fairly depressing. Or just say happy birthday to Lon. Do that as well.
Yeah. A lot of people have, and I appreciate it.
Yes,
Thank you.
A lot more to do as we go along. Stick with us. This is The Drive.
With the leaves and temperatures beginning to fall, it's time to make sure those furnaces are in great running order. Get that furnace tuned up so it doesn't let you down on the cold nights. Dogtown is the People's Choice #1 HVAC company again in 2023. Ask about the current 0% financing offer on all Lennox high comfort systems and single component units for qualifying applicants. The number's 217-841-4728. Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing, your home's best friend.
Since Busey Bank first opened our doors in 1868, we have built upon a tradition of close relationships and broad financial capabilities. Our experienced team provides the highest level of personalized service to ensure we accomplish your goals, simplifying your wealth management and business lending needs and ensuring a legacy for generations. Building business, growing wealth since 1868. Proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
If you're in the market for a new car battery, you could go to one of those big box stores, except there's no guarantee you'll be served by an actual car expert.
Clean up in aisle 3.
You could pick a battery off the shelf, except it might be close to expiring. Or you could just come into Interstate. Don't make a big box store blunder. With competitive prices and a more personal, reliable approach, Interstate Batteries is the clear-cut choice if you want to guarantee yourself a new and trustworthy car battery. They're open and ready to serve you at 2504 North Mattis Avenue in Champaign.
Like every bank, there's a time every day when we stop making loans. But at Iroquois Federal, we never stop making a difference. Thanks to an amazing team of employees who give back to their local communities all over Central Illinois. From hospital boards and local school programs to Kiwanis and the United Way, Iroquois Federal employees donated more than 1,000 volunteer hours last year. And we'll do it again next year, because the only thing we like more than making a loan is making a difference. Iroquois Federal, still friendly, still local, still here. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Say goodbye to redness and hello to happy skin. Merle Norman's new Red Correct Treatment Primer is a science-based color care formula containing over 20 corrective ingredients that help calm and soothe sensitive skin. This is a multi-purpose facial primer that turns from green to beige when massaged into skin. Use it to help color correct red areas, decrease sensitivity, and prep skin for makeup application. Shop Red Correct Treatment Primer now at Merle Norman, 706 West Marketview Drive in Champaign.
Hey, where are you headed?
To Kelsey Furniture in Tuscola.
What do they have there?
What don't they have there? Living room furniture, benches, chests, love seats, sectionals, tables, bedroom sets, hutches, nightstands, end tables, cabinets, mirrors, stools, clocks, lamps, pillows, rugs, desks, media consoles, patio furniture, Tempur-Pedic mattresses, and more.
So, everything.
Yeah, probably could have just said that.
Kelsey Furniture, quality for less. Are you tired of the daily drive? Ready to embrace the freedom of working from home? Look no further than Tapman's Towing. They're hiring remote dispatchers to join their team from the comfort of your own home. At Tapman's, you'll play a vital role in coordinating their dedicated tow truck drivers, helping people in need. Join them today. Experience the convenience of working from home with Tapman's Towing. Apply now at tapmanstowing.com. Tapman's Towing, where every day is a new opportunity to make a difference.
Habitat for Humanity of Champaign County has been bringing people together to build homes, communities, and hope since 1991. To date, Habitat of Champaign has built 118 homes, but the need for safe, decent, and affordable housing is greater than ever. When you donate your time or money to Habitat or make a purchase from the Habitat Restore, you are empowering local families and helping them achieve the strength, stability, and self-reliance they need to build a bright future for themselves. For more information about Habitat for Humanity of Champaign, please visit cuhabitat.org.
Hey, Illini fans, it's Mike Greenberg. Catch Lon Tay and Derek Piper weekdays from 4 to 6 right here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Hey, all you need is love and financial intimacy. Before you walk down the aisle, Busey suggests setting a solid financial footing. The experts suggest the following tips. Some of them: will you and your spouse to be keep finances separate or combined? Make sure you guys talk about stuff like that. Couples that tackle money problems together and take responsibility for solving them will find that their relationship is better for it. Calculate your monthly cost, choose how bills need to be paid, who's going to write the checks, monitor the investments, take care of the taxes. Also, share credit. Let your spouse know your situation and vice versa. Cupid's Arrow, develop a plan to shoot down existing debt. That's always good for anyone, whether you're single, married, etc. And, of course, Sweet Savings. Put some in that savings. Make sure that you've got some for a rainy day. When you're just starting out or celebrating your milestone anniversary, Busey can provide an array of solutions tailored to your specific needs. Visit Busey.com or stop by one of their many convenient locations today. And don't overspend on that honeymoon. That helps. No, actually, go at it on the honeymoon.
Yeah, Kyle.
Go at it.
It is The Drive with Tay and Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. Illinois football could use a little Miami. Welcome to Miami, Will Smith, as he says. The Miami Dolphins, that is, because they have speed, and more speed.
That's unreal. And somebody tracked Tyreek Hill down.
Yep. A-Chain, the rookie running back, was like running stride for stride with him.
Where did he come from, A-Chain or whatever?
Texas A&M.
Good. Man.
Not even fair, Kyle. Not even fair.
It's not.
Of course, now McDaniel says he's hurt today, so hopefully that's nothing.
You trade him to the Bears if you want.
Bears looked good.
Yeah, we did. It was fun. It was fun on Thursday night.
That was a positive going into the no negative sound we're going to hear.
Yeah. All right. Let's hear from Barry Lunney, what he had to say after only a 7-point performance on Friday night. No points in the first quarter. Of course, you get down to the 1 yard line, not able to punch it in. No points in the second half. What is what's the explanation and where does this go from here? Barry Lunney Jr. spoke to the media today, and we want to get that to you.
Obviously, short yardage situations came up again. What are the continued issues there, and how are you trying to address it?
Well, I mean, yeah, they did rear their head again, and obviously the first series of the game, we had a pretty nice drive pieced together, and then which really is irrelevant because we weren't able to finish it. I'd much rather have an uglier drive that finishes with a broken play for a touchdown, than a clean drive and then not able to execute when it matters to get the ball in. And so, obviously when you look back at things with hindsight, you say, well, was this the right call? We felt good about the call, and we didn't execute when we needed to execute. And then later in the game, I didn't love the call, on the 4th and 1. Something we'd use early in the game on 3rd and 1, and Caden had thumped through there for, I think, 3 on the first series of the drive, but a little bit different circumstance, 4th and 1. And, we just I didn't do a good job putting our guys in good position, and we didn't execute. That's a bad combination. And so, but obviously those things have to be addressed and continue to put more emphasis on those situations to where we can execute better, and I can put our guys in a better position in those situations.
It seems like that first drive of the game, you guys were able to sustain drive, sustain the drive, move the ball, multi-play, 10, 8, 9 plays, and then the rest of the first half, it kind of stalled out. What do you think's behind that, and how do you guys fix that?
Well, I think 6 of our 12 drives were 3 and out, and that's no way to put together a good offensive game. You just can't do that. And so, obviously, getting the first down is a critical part of offensive football. And to your point, early in the game, we seem to do better, in that regard than we do sometimes in the middle of the lull. We're very up and down, in that regard. And so obviously it's my job to peel back all those layers and to figure out what is the root cause of those things. And not to sound like a broken record, but really the root cause is a multitude of things, and which has got to stop. It's like an execution here by this position player or this position person, and then, maybe them having a little bit better call than I have on for our team. And so it's a myriad of things. It's not one thing. It's not one person. It's not one situation. Regardless of that, that's irrelevant, is we've got to sustain drives better. We've got to do better. We've got to execute better. We've got to have, we just got to be better. And that's such a vague statement and such a, a press conference statement, but that's just the truth. We have to execute better to stay on the field to be able to sustain drives to give our chance to go score and give ourselves a chance to go score.
Are there specific reasons why you don't feel comfortable with the quarterback under center, or at least Coach Bielema kind of indicated that up until now that has not been something that the staff has been comfortable with?
Yeah, I think we talked about that last week a little bit. Obviously felt comfortable enough to go underneath, on 3rd and 1, and so I think that was a real strong indicator. And I know in my mind I didn't even flinch on that one. I think so. We've really made some strides in the last couple of weeks, of being comfortable to where it felt really strongly about the no concern for the ball security, and so that's something obviously. As we went back and studied some of the things we did last year, even, like we were under there just a little bit more. And so I think that's obviously something that we're looking at. And in those situations in particular, that was the first time that's really showed up. I think 2 actually ran a sneak, I believe, against FAU for a first down underneath. And so we've just been underneath there a handful of times, but that's something that we're to the point. I think we're beyond comfortable at that point, or at this point. And so something that we need to inject a little bit more into our offense.
As you and Bart discuss the offensive line, what are your biggest concerns right now about execution up front?
Well, I think my biggest concern is making sure I'm putting our guys up front in a situation to be successful, right? I think we know, obviously we knew going into the week last week what our lineup was going to be, and some new faces and some new places again. And but I think we're to the point now, this far into the season, that we have a really strong feeling of an understanding of what some strengths and weaknesses are there, and everybody's got them, and then I'm talking about just the line, I'm talking about everybody across in football. Everybody's got strengths and weaknesses, any team, and ours are as well. And so, I think the conversation mostly steers around, or is centered around, how do we can minimize the weaknesses and maximize our strengths there from the offensive line standpoint. Because it all, everything that we do on any offense runs through the lens of the guys up front, and so that's kind of been the focus of our conversations.
Look, it's not easy to come and visit with the media each week when you can't really say what you want to say. First of all, Barry Lundy is not going to sit there and burn it down and mention players' names. He's not going to do that. You don't have that in college. So then he has to continue to sound so generic that it frustrates us, the listener.
Yep.
But there's nothing he can do. There's nothing you can ask him that's going to be earth-shattering unless he just burns it down and says, okay, here's the 8 guys that suck. I'm kidding, which I don't think they do, and he's not going to do that.
Here's the 8 guys that suck, starting with me. You wouldn't feel happy if he did that, if he named 8 other guys. Yeah, you're right.
Well, even if he did that, even if Barry Lundy came in and said, I'm horrible as an offensive coordinator, you'd be sitting there going, okay, he's taking it all on himself. It's like Luke Altmaier last week when we talked to him. He took everything on himself when we know in reality it's not just Luke Altmaier that's the reason this offense is struggling.
And I understand as a guy in that locker room, you want to be careful about not calling out your own offensive line or calling out your play caller. And look, we're not expecting him to do that. We're just kind of taking with a grain of salt the fact of we all know when he says it starts with me, it's my fault, that it's not all his fault.
Correct.
Speaking of which, we will talk to Luke Altmaier, who will join the show as he does every Monday here coming up. On the other side of this break, did want to go to the U of I Line Only text line real quick. Big Def, I think, might join us later in the show, says, go ahead and feel good about a slow-developing run play call on the goal line. Out of shotgun between the tackles without your biggest back, that would be Caden Fagan.
Can we all just do what the Eagles do until they ban
tried it
on third down?
I know they did, and it
Someone
didn't work.
One of my buddies watching at home said it might have looked like Altmaier got in, but I don't know that for sure. I didn't go back.
I don't know how
it.
They can tell if he did or not, stuff like that.
I don't know.
But can you just not do that twice, and every time you're in a short yardage situation like that? Well, number one, put a strong kid like Caden Fagan in to push. Get a hand on Altmaier's butt and go.
Could have done a tight end sneak. No one would have seen that coming.
Oh, boy.
All right, we're due for a break.
Take a knee, Scusson.
217-359-2255 on the U of I Line League text line. Hit us up. Let us know your thoughts. Luke Altmaier on the other side of this break. It is The Drive.
Bright and early for the daily races, going nowhere, going nowhere. The tears are...
You moved into your new home using 2 men in a truck. The garage was clean. Then,
I love the new recliner. What are we going to do with this old one?
Put it in the garage for now.
over time, this cycle continued.
Garage for now. Put it in the garage for now. Put it in the garage for now. Put it in the garage for now.
It happens. You got junk. Call 2 Men in a Truck to get rid of all your junk. Residential or commercial, 2 Men in a Truck has a solution for your junk removal. Contact them at 2menchampagne.com.
2 men in a truck.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Mediterranean very soon.
The Pentagon ordered the USS Gerald R. Ford aircraft strike group to the eastern Mediterranean, closer to Israel, in a loud message of deterrence to Iran and its proxies, especially to Hezbollah in Lebanon.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel didn't start the war, but will finish it.
Hamas is ISIS. And just as the forces of civilizations united to defeat ISIS, the forces of civilization must support Israel in defeating Hamas.
Fox's Trey Yingst is in southern Israel.
What we saw on Saturday was a massacre against innocent people. It was a shock to the Israeli system, something that was so unexpected.
But he says a bigger massacre is possible if it becomes a wider war with other militant groups.
When you look at the weapons that Hezbollah has, we're talking about precision-guided missiles that have been smuggled in from Iran. They have thousands of different positions, according to classified intelligence that we have reviewed, in southern and central Lebanon, and all of those positions are aimed at Israel. Israel does not have the missile defense capabilities to handle that many missiles and rockets that would be fired.
More than 900 are dead in Israel, more than 600 in Gaza. Delta becoming the latest airline to cancel flights to and from Tel Aviv. Across the U.S., security stepped up around Jewish facilities, federal agencies monitoring for any domestic threats. America is listening to Fox News.
Bring smiles to all when shopping online with Dell Technologies Gift Guide. Whether it's for the artist, the entrepreneur, the student, or the streamer, you'll find the perfect gift for everyone on your list. Dell.com/gift guide makes gifting easy with a carefully curated selection of our best tech. Shop now to explore our innovative PCs like the XPS 13 laptop, powered by the latest Intel Core processors, plus this season's top accessories. Visit Dell.com/gift guide today to get a jump on your holiday gift list. That's Dell.com/gift guide.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Dueling demonstrations outside an Israeli consulate in New York City.
Pro-Israel crowds gathered in New York City to protest the attacks that have cost hundreds of lives. Some who spoke out did not hold back their opinion of Hamas aggression. But in New York City, where there is one side, there is certainly the other, supporting Hamas and condemning U.S. support of Israel.
Stop the U.S. war machine! Stop the U.S. war machine! It is right to rebel! It is right to rebel!
The NYPD is present at the demonstrations, which to date have not been violent. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says the House should be voting on a resolution condemning Hamas, but can't yet because there's no speaker. He again criticizes fellow Republicans who voted to oust him.
If 8 people want to side with all the Democrats for their own personal beliefs, that's fine. But I'm elected to go serve, and I'm not going to sit back and watch what's happening around the world and be quiet because the rest of leadership won't.
He doesn't rule out serving as speaker again if that's what the GOP conference decides. They meet this week to pick a nominee with only 2 members running, Steve Scalise and Jim Jordan. A Stranger Things prequel will hit bookshelves on Halloween.
Stranger Things writer Caitlin Schneiderhan is coming out with the book called Stranger Things: Flight of Icarus. It outlines true details to the backstory of metalhead Eddie Munson. The character is best known for his last scene, rocking out to Metallica's Master of Puppets in the Upside Down world. The novel expands the storyline on Eddie's relationship with music and his mother before her passing.
Fox's Monica DeLuca. There was a late rally on Wall Street. The Dow gained 197. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff.
Check. I literally just create madness.
Well, they're up.
I'm going to go off here.
They don't have a great quarterback.
I got to take a break. I'm getting in trouble.
To win the Big Ten, you first got to win the West.
Bad Bunny. Have you heard his name in a while?
No.
Has it bothered you?
No. Defensively, they got to come in with some confidence.
Is that even analytics?
I'm in a parking garage, kind of lost.
Terrence Shannon, Matthew Meyer, R.J. Melendez, Coleman Hawkins.
These trophy presentations aren't over!
I didn't come here to go 5-7.
I'm so proud of Illinois football right now. I'm so tired of Joel Embiid.
We're not taking Patrick Corbin.
I want to bet the Bears.
Oh.
You are Reba McEntire's niece.
Roshan Russell.
Coach Bielma.
You no longer salute to yourself.
What? We got all kinds of things for you here.
There's a lot of glass.
Oh.
Guys, we have breaking news.
Uh-oh.
It's The Drive.
Smack Dogs.
It is The Drive with Tane Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. Derek Piper, Kyle Tosk, and birthday boy himself, Monte.
53, drink!
There you go.
Mitch sent that to me today in a tweet. I was laughing. I came off the, I think I had just doubled a hole and needed a laugh. And I was like, oh, that's a good one. I shot a legit 42 today.
That's legit, really good.
Legit.
That's
and
good.
That was my second round of the year.
Wow.
I played Saturday, and I would have shot, this is for 9 holes, I would have shot about a 65. I was so bad. And then today, I don't know, I just kind of relaxed and had a good day.
That's
Andrew and I were out doing it. Did you see Andrew's picture on Homecoming?
I did.
The old salmon jacket.
That was a pretty fly look.
It was pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a good-looking kid. I was like, have some fun, have some fun. Not too, you know what I'm saying. Not too much.
I don't know. He could be a heartbreaker. You don't got to break the hearts, but I think he could warm some for sure.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Cute little smile. So it's time for basketball, though. We got to get some
dude.
shots up.
And he's got the cool factor, too.
He's got he does.
I wish I had that much confidence and swagger when I was his age.
Ditto.
I was a little more reserved.
For those parents out there, if you want to know that at least one of your children will have that, here's what you do. You have kids 7 years apart, and all Andrew has ever done his entire life is hang out with people that are at minimum 7 years older than him.
Yep.
He's never, like our tailgate crew, there's like 6 regulars, and Andrew's one of the 6. I mean, we rented a bus that had a stripper pole in it. I didn't realize this at the time. And 20 of us went down to St. Louis. There were no strippers. 20 of us went down to a Cardinals baseball game, and everybody on the bus was like, we all like literally behind your back, Lon, visited about should we invite Andrew on this trip, and we're like, yeah. I'm like, that's just where it's at. So there you go. If you want that, just have a kid 7 years apart.
I like it.
So there you go. And he is as frustrated with Illinois football.
Oh, I'm sure. What'd you think of the crowd? Number one, first and foremost, we are efforting Luke Altmaier. This segment every Monday here in the 4 o'clock hour is brought to you by Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing, your home's best friend, First Federal Savings Bank, local and trusted. Crossroads Crossroads. Crossroads Contractor Supply, the right tools when you need it. Brian Hansen at State Farm Insurance. Visit brianismyguy.com and Carpenters Local 243. Hopefully we can get Luke on the phone here soon. But how'd you feel about the vibe? I, as well, went to the game. I didn't get to get there tailgating. Apparently it takes a while to get a 1.5-year-old to get ready for a ball game. It was cold. That played into it.
It was very
unfortunately,
cold.
I didn't get to cross paths with you, but it wasn't a bad crowd. I thought the student section turned out decent. It wasn't full by any means, but I wasn't terribly displeased. But, yeah, I did file out definitely by halftime.
Yeah, I'm going full transparency here. I didn't go in the game because Mom, as you know.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
But I did go up and I did tailgate during the day a little bit. And
did you see Phoenix Gill?
No.
Kendall Gill's son, was in town.
Well, the basketball team didn't set up right there where they always do, but it must be too cold now for them to do that. I don't know. I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's too late in the, now they just got to start thinking basketball. But no, I did not see Phoenix Gill. So I had to base my thoughts off TV, in other words. But yeah, I mean, I feel like Illinois gave them one more shot. Fans.
Yeah.
They kind of said, this is we talked in the tailgate lot about, if you lose this game, what is the lot going to look like? Because I was really shocked at how many people were out there.
Oh, no.
On a
walking
Friday.
up, there was exactly. On a work day to have shown up. I showed up, 6:30, and there was a good showing out there.
I agree. And kudos to all of, the fans that went out and set up on Friday and were able to do that. But, I don't know. I mean, I that was kind of my thought with one of the other guys that I visited. I'm like, I feel like today is kind of that day where if you falter here against Nebraska, I think it's going to really, you're going to start seeing it. Now,
It's all in on basketball now.
I,
of course, as a basketball guy, I'm going to say
Exactly.
that, but still.
I saw on Twitter a couple of things that concerned me, and I get it. I'm not blaming the people that did it, but I had a few people that would tweet at me and say, I jumped in, I bought all in, I bought season tickets, and probably if there were 10 guys, and when I say guy, it could be a girl, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, like let's say if there were 10 of them, 8 of them were like, I have other things to do. I have other things that I would rather be doing. Now, I don't. I mean, I could probably find other things to do, but otherwise I'm a pretty boring guy, I guess. So I enjoy the tailgates. I enjoy being around and seeing all my friends. Not that these people don't either,
Right.
but I get what they're saying. They may rather go to car shows, or they may rather go golf, or, go spend time going to a Cardinals baseball
watch a
or
movie,
Cubs baseball game. Or go to a movie, yeah. So for me, it's about the tailgating. It's about the fun of going in and getting fired up for a football game. But it really, I mean, you got Wisconsin. You're going to get beat by Maryland. Then you got Wisconsin for homecoming, and you're 2-5. And it's, the homecoming thing doesn't do as much for me because I didn't graduate from Illinois like you and Kyle, we assume, will. Unless he keeps tweeting out horrific stuff and they kick him out of college.
I don't know.
But it's one of those where it's like I don't get fired up because it's homecoming, but it's a 2:30 game against Wisconsin, and I'd like to beat Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's 2 games that I will get motivated for the rest of this year, it is Wisconsin and Iowa. Because I don't care if I'm 0 and whatever, I want to beat those guys. So, I don't know.
I get it.
What
No,
about you, Kyle? What did you think of?
I also didn't end up going in the game on Friday
Oh,
night,
you
I have
didn't?
to say. I decided to watch it instead.
You were fine. Uh-huh.
Instead of have the wind blow in my face. I am very boring, I agree. But
I should have sent you to my mom's house.
Yeah, I could have.
And she could have said, Kyle, now what are you getting ready to tweet? Let me read it over before you hit that send button.
What? I have no idea where you're going with that.
Young man, I don't think your parents would approve of this tweet.
Why are you acting like I tweeted some horrific thing? I don't think I did. I was just angry.
I'm just giving you
It was some angry tweets about the performance.
This comes from this guy.
Lon's making it sound like I should be getting canceled on
No,
Twitter.
definitely not.
No, dude, no. Yeah, I'm kidding you 100%.
I know.
I think it's because you're so quiet otherwise, and I was like, dang.
You missed the day. I saw Kyle unleash after one of the Cubs losses, and that final stretch.
See?
Man, he's got.
Okay,
we already know
have it in me.
We know he's good on these airwaves. He's very polished. He's very knowledgeable.
Big time.
But when he put some a little edginess, a little anger in there, I was like, man, this is.
Oh, I loved it. I started.
something
I was
here.
like, oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, Kyle's on fire right now.
Yes.
Let's go.
We needed something to be happy about, smile at,
Yes.
chuckle at, and that was it.
It's amazing. I would probably, if you asked me right now, social media, keep it or not, I would get rid of it. I think it is destroying our world. I think there's just so many negative things to it that I can't even begin to. And there's a lot of positive to it as well. But I've always said one of the positives is you can live your misery with other fans immediately.
Yes.
So while you're so mad because Illinois can't punch the ball in from the half-yard line, you can immediately jump on Twitter and see 700 other people that are just as pissed off as you, and in a weird way, it makes you feel better. Because you're like, well, good, I'm not the only person here that's ready to throw this rock through a TV. I don't know why you'd have a rock in your house. But it's it's just one of those.
Fernando Vina bat.
That was good. I should have had that out.
Should have. Dang it. But I was in the.
We didn't need that this year in baseball.
In the stadium, when there were some calls that were reviewed or something, like the guys behind me were like, let's check Twitter and see what Twitter's saying. The people that are watching at home or Jeremy Warner up in the box, that type of thing. But yeah, of course, we can all be commenting /mad /depressed together on Twitter.
I agree. I mean, if you disagree with the call or what was the game? Was that the last road game where I thought there was a safety?
The Purdue game.
Oh, yeah.
Purdue. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, is that not a safety? I'm like, help me out here. But a lot of people thought, 80% said no. And I just kind of thought that it looked like it could have been a safety. But that's kind of cool. Then I took the idea that 80% of the population decided it wasn't. Then I convinced myself there's no need to complain about that or worry about that anymore, Lon. It was obviously not a safety, and that's true.
Yeah,
I'm serious when I say that. In the old days when I didn't have anybody around, I would have gone to bed that night saying, well, we got screwed because there was a safety and they didn't call it, and the next thing you know, we got beat by 30.
I already put the stamp on the letter to the Big Ten.
Yes.
100% of safety.
Yep, change the world, as my brother used to say. Change the world, Lon.
Well, you
Write that letter.
You changed the Juji fruit world.
I did.
You did.
I told him too many reds. Yeah. Now, I don't know if it's changed anything, but I at least sent them an email and they emailed me back and said, we appreciate you being a consumer and we appreciate your thoughts. We will take that into consideration. Now, you've kind of made it in life when
I would say
that's got to go like in my obituary, right? Lon cared in life to the point where he emailed Juji Fruits.
Product analyst for Juji Fruit.
Yeah, Randy, we got blown off by Hans. I mean, quarterback today and Jay.
Wow.
This is bad.
Nobody wants to talk to us.
Actually, Jay did tell me yesterday that he forgot he was out of town because it's Columbus Day and the kids are out of school.
Well, so did Hans, apparently. Forgot he was out of town.
And Luke took Columbus Day off as well. I did meet his parents.
He's got to change up the vibe somehow. So if he might think, ever since I agreed coming on with those guys.
That is a good point.
We've just lost football games.
That's a great point. I met Luke Altmaier's parents. Super nice. Dylan Davis met his mom. And then I visited with Luke and Dylan's girlfriends at our tailgate and had a great time. Wonderful people. Awesome. They're all just wonderful people. It was kind of funny, though, because I had a moment where Luke's mom, and I think it was that I got confused of which one was Dylan's mom, because Dylan Davis is from Sarasota, right? And he came on with us that day, he and Kirkland. And I always.
He's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Yeah, Sarasota, Florida.
Yep.
And so I thought to myself, they were in Florida, you know. So the next thing I know, Luke's mom goes, well, I'm from Mississippi. And I was like, oh, you are? And I kind of was like, oh, you are? And then I was like, wait a minute, Lon, duh. That's where they're from. So it was kind of funny. But, yeah, it was good. It was good to meet all of them. And then, of course, the game wasn't as enjoyable as the tailgate.
Well, let's talk more about that game. We're going to go to the Tapman's Towing phone line now. Luke Altmaier, Atlanta quarterback. This segment, again, brought to you by Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing, First Federal Savings Bank, Crossroads Contractor Supply, Brian Hansen at State Farm Insurance, and Carpenters Local 243. Luke Altmaier joining us now. How you doing, Luke? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Sorry about calling in late. I was in the film room, skipped my mind, but I appreciate you guys.
You're good. Absolutely.
Yeah, sorry about that.
He was celebrating my birthday. That's what he was doing. And then he realized, oh, wait, it's Lon's birthday. I got to call in, man.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Sorry about Friday. What can you tell us about that one? It kind of was a game that the defense gave you a few chances with some turnovers and such, which has been not something that we normally don't win the turnover battle, essentially, or haven't. So just your overall thoughts on only getting 7, I guess, against the Cornhuskers.
Yeah, I mean, another disappointing week. I guess that's pretty obvious for people to see and for this program to see. Credit to Nebraska, did a great job on defense. Doing what they can to limit us from moving the ball down the field and really just putting together drives. But yeah, just like I said, just struggled to piece things together consistently. Struggled to in different areas. We turned the ball over on downs a few times, and especially on the first drive of the game on the goal line, which was tough. I thought we got in there, and it takes a lot of air out of yourselves, and so to start the game off like that, having a great drive and not being able to finish, about as close as you can get was tough, and found a little success, there towards the end of the half, and wanted to ride that success in the second half, but just couldn't find our rhythm. Like I said, I had a turnover or two, and man, it is disappointing, for me and this team, and but putting our head down and putting one foot in front of the other, and
sure.
And that's all we can do is just keep going. And there's we know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel of this thing, and we believe every team on the schedule that is ahead of us, we believe we can beat. We firmly believe that, and we're going to put one foot in front of the other, and that's what we're going to do.
Luke, you mentioned that first drive there, and I know on 3rd and goal, it seems to be becoming more and more prevalent, the tush push from Philly or whatever you want to call it. You felt like you got in there. I was in the stadium. I had a buddy who was watching on TV said, I thought Luke got in. Is that what you're referencing there?
What are you talking about now? The what play?
The 3rd and goal on that first drive. You had the QB sneak on the Philly style QB sneak, and then is that where you felt like you got in?
Yeah, I think Nebraska did. We kind of had a stalemate there, and it was originally I didn't think I got in off the initial push. Mm-hmm. They did a good job of kind of holding us upright, but as I fell to the ground, I felt like I fell in, but it was so much later after the play was the play had transpired, so I don't know what how the refs deal with that, but I know initially they did a good job of not getting us in there initially, but as I fell to the ground, a few seconds after, maybe the refs made a decision, I felt like I was in, but Nebraska did a good job of kind of holding us up right there, which is disappointing. You want to get in there for sure.
What's funny on that, and excuse me, Derek, the only bad about that, what'd you call it, the
tush push, is you're right in the middle of field. I don't know how the hell officials can even tell if you're in or not. Like, are they just guessing?
I mean, I'm not blaming him either. I mean, that one dude's 20 feet away at least, on the goal line, looking down there, more than that even, and he's running in and all their air. You basically have 10 300-pound dudes in a coil. And it's like, wait, let me find the ball. I don't think he got in. I mean, so I don't know. It's those goal line things are tough, isn't it? It's tough.
Yeah, especially that play with how many bodies were. And some sneaks are a little less crowded than that, but we had all of our guys in there, and they kind of knew it was coming, had their guys in there. So on the film, you really can't even see me.
I bet.
Once the ball snaps. So I mean, I'm sure those refs had a hard time seeing it. Maybe they see something different from their angle initially, and kind of the stalemate that it was. But I mean, it's incredibly hard to see, I guess, because we can't even see it on film from every angle that we have. And I mean, I don't know how they make that decision, but like once I hit the ground and kind of body started were removed from the pile, I felt like I was in, but I don't know how they make that decision. You know what I mean?
Those guys running in also have an average age of 68, but that's just a quick aside from me. If they were 21, on the note of 21, Luke, it's kind of jarring to see a Brett Bielema-led team have 21 yards rushing in a game. What did you see out of Nebraska up front that allowed them to slow you guys down in the run game? It seemed like I mean, anytime you go into a game, I know that Brett wants to establish the ground game and get that thing going, but was there anything they were doing with their scheme, or was it just the physical guys they had up front? What made it tough to run on those guys?
Yeah, I mean, they have a very unique scheme, and that's really, really a lot different than what we have seen in the previous weeks and what we will go forward seeing, and very exotic with their fronts, their pressures, their movements up front. So it was hard to get a consistent kind of look and a picture for those guys up front to really establish things. And Nebraska did a great job with trying to solidify stopping our run there, and that's what they did. And it's hard for me to kind of pinpoint kind of what the factor was with that, but at the bottom, I think the bottom line is there was moments there for as an offensive unit to execute, and I think there's just one little thing here and there that each play that goes wrong that really puts us behind the sticks or limits us from having a good gain. And we had too many of those moments at the end of the day, and we learn from it, I guess, and grow from it, and we put our head down and put one foot in front of the other. We keep going. That's all we can do. And, like I said, we know there's a light at the end of the tunnel coming real soon for us. We firmly believe that. And, we're going to go do our best and, put our best foot forward and give it all we have. And, believe that, whoever we come up against is going to get our best, and, at least my best. And I know this team is, fighting, scratching, clawing to get there too.
Luke Altmaier joining us on the Tapman's Towing phone line. I know you probably spoke to it a little bit there at the end of your last answer, but you've mentioned it. You're disappointed. Fans out there are pretty disappointed. Both the team and the fan base had higher expectations for this season. Not that the season is done by any means, but how are you handling it? How is the locker room handling it, by the way that you're able to judge? Just kind of the mood and the overall just morale of this team, one that's not playing up to what you guys feel like are your capabilities?
Yeah, I think there's an obvious feeling of disappointment for this team, but for me too, being at the kind of centerpiece of all of it, being my first real season, it's definitely been hard for me to navigate, and putting a lot of pressure on me, and seeing my mistakes and how they have affected our success as a team. And it's been difficult to navigate, but I've gained so much perspective through these weeks that will only help me in so many areas of my life moving forward, on the field, off the field, and things like that. But it's been difficult. It's been difficult for me personally. Obviously, like I said, with me being kind of in the center of our offense, of this unit, and having plays that our team can overcome at times, and it's difficult, but I know I'm getting so much better, and I'm learning a whole lot, and that's kind of that's the truth, and there's nobody who wants to. There's nobody who wants to do better more than I do, and I know I'll get there. I really do. But as a team, I think we're inspired. We're like I said, we're fighting, scratching, and clawing every single day to go get that win. And I think all we need is one, and we'll be able to hit a run there. But I think our leader, Coach B, really puts us in great positions. Mentally, not obviously physically, but mentally, the way he leads us, the way he encourages us, the way he brings so much positivity to our room and our program, and while coaching us, very hardly, and having tough conversations that ultimately will make us better in so many ways. And I think we're just going to keep going. I think spirits are obviously disappointed, but we move forward, and I know those guys are inspired to get back out there and go get that win. I know I am.
Luke, let's move forward now. You've got Maryland on the road, obviously coming up, a team that gave Ohio State all they could handle. Obviously a very good quarterback there and an offense that's solid. I mean, this is a team you're going to almost have to really keep up with, essentially, and that's not a jab on the defense. It's just that's what they do, and a lot of teams fall behind and have to kind of keep up with Maryland. So understanding coming off, the loss to Nebraska, obviously now it just gets tougher with a game not only on the road but against Maryland. What are your thoughts on the Terps and how that will go next weekend? Yeah, no doubt. I mean, they're a great team, 5-1, and they've had a lot of success early, and like you said, gave Ohio State their best shot and played really well in that game, and we'll have to play really well and coming up to come out on top. But an athletic group, a group with a lot of speed and well coached, and like you said, has a really good quarterback who has a lot of experience, played a lot of ball, so. They'll be really sound. They'll do their thing, and but I'm very confident in our group, our defense, and I'm ready to be out there and take my learning from these past 6 weeks and implement that into this Maryland game coming up. But a great group, well coached on defense, do a lot of good things, very athletic, fast, and another just Big Ten opponent on the road. Those games will always be tough, but we're going to go in there expecting to win. We really believe that, and I think we're excited. We really are.
Luke, last question for you, and probably the most important. Lon said that he was able to meet and have a conversation with your girlfriend in the tailgate lots. How much does that concern you?
Knowing that I'm 53 today.
Yeah, a little bit, but yeah, she told me that after the game. I said good things about you guys, and that was cool. That was cool.
It was great to meet your parents, by the way, and your girlfriend. It was just, it was super nice people and exactly what I expected coming from them. And I asked him, I'm like, are you sure you like this cold weather? And she's like, her and Dylan's girlfriend were both like, they kind of hesitated. I'm like, well, brace yourself because it's not going to get any better.
Right, from the South, so they'll have to figure it out really quick.
Exactly.
So, but they only had good things to say about you, and I mean they loved it. They really did.
Awesome.
Well, Luke, we obviously wish you the best going into this week, to be able to go into Maryland and have a good performance, bounce back and whatnot. But thanks for always joining us. We appreciate you answering the questions, and I know we have people weighing in here on the U of I Atlanta Lake text line and say that they are pulling for you and rooting for you. So thanks, Luke, as always, and we'll talk next Monday.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you guys.
All right, buddy.
Thank you, Luke. Luke Altmaier. Again, this segment brought to you by Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing, your home's best friend. First Federal Savings Bank, local and trusted. Crossroads Contractor Supply, the right tools when you need it. Brian Hansen at the State Farm Insurance. Visit brianismyguy.com and by Carpenters Local 243.
I have one thing on the U of I Atlanta Lake text line, and then I do want to hear from Brett Bielema, what he said today. But And it's interesting because I'm not ripping Marty here because I think it's fair exactly what he said. But he says, we lost quality NFL talent more than people realize. Expectations were way too high, in my opinion. If you take just a one-off with this team in general, I would agree. I always expect more, right? So the one-off with just this team, I agree, and that was kind of what I had kind of tried to regurgitate at the start of the show, and the idea that, man, how much of this really – but it just is so frustrating that we can sit there and watch other programs, and i.e. Iowa, Wisconsin, those kind of programs lose the same amount of stuff, and the next year they're coming back with 8 wins. They lose Sam Laporta to the NFL, who's now tearing it up in the NFL.
Man.
And I haven't watched much with Iowa, but I guarantee you there's a tight end that is targeted 15 times. I think, Marty, that's the only thing. Again, if it's a one-off just on this year, I agree. I expected too much, and probably a lot of us did. It's just frustrating that it's always that. Well, we better not expect too much.
Well, and it's who you've played, too. I mean, Kansas, when Lance Leipold took over, you could say Illinois and Kansas probably eye to eye, if not Kansas having more to make up for. And they're having obviously a better year than Illinois. Purdue has gotten smoked by Syracuse.
Yeah.
Gave up $1 billion to Fresno State, lost to Iowa, even though they played a backup quarterback. Go on and on. I mean, FAU was down a quarterback, couple running backs, and teeth from a receiver. It's a bad. That's the other context of this. You not only have a 2-4 record, you have still, I'll say it until it changes, have underperformed.
Yes,
contrary to expectation, in literally every game you've played.
Yep,
every single one.
I agree.
So,
and your quarterback, who we just talked to, and he would tell you this, has turned the ball over way too often. He has to get better.
Looks like a young quarterback.
He does. It has to get better. You cannot continue to just give teams, between the penalties and the turnovers leading into the Nebraska game, it was horrific. And that was.
I fully agree. I just feel like the best opportunity for him to be successful, if you could have a running game.
Yeah.
What helps a young quarterback, inexperienced quarterback, like a good number one, a good running game to hang your hat on, but it opens up play action opportunities.
Huge.
That he's not getting because no one's biting on the fake because Illinois runs the ball for 21 yards against a team like Nebraska. And then also, obviously, you don't have the most dynamic of playmakers outside of Isaiah, but I feel like if the O-line was giving him more time, if you could run a legit play action type of complementary offense, which Wisconsin hasn't had the best of quarterbacks throughout the years, save for Russell Wilson, but they've been able to utilize that, and Brett Bielema knows that very well. I still think that Luke has shown that he's talented. He, needs to learn from his mistakes and get more consistent, and hopefully that's something he can show in the second half of the year.
I would agree.
We're due for a break. If you want to win, you can. 217-359-2255. Still have Aaron Henry to play. Still have Brett Bielema on the other side. This is The Drive.
Are you tired of getting the short end of the stick and always being stuck with cold water for your showers? Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing is here to help. With current tax incentives and rebates, you can save up to $900 on a high-efficiency tankless water heater, unlimited hot water, and saving on your energy bills. It seems like the best gift you could give your home. With the current promotion of 0% financing for qualified applicants, you can't afford not to call. 217-841-4728. Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing. Your home's best friend.
Local, personal, trusted. Hi, this is Todd Durakan with First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana, and we've been serving Champaign County since 1908. Our institution is safe, strong, and stable. We operate on a foundation of responsible and sound practices, and you can rest easy knowing we're your bank. Rated 5-star superior by Bauer Financial Inc., fast, friendly, and local, with local loan decisions and underwriting. If you're not already banking with us, give us a try, and we think you'll love it here. First Federal Savings Bank, 356bank.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender, NMLS 435120.
So when was the last time you saw a best deal guarantee?
You mean a promise that actually held up?
Right.
That some unknown online entity didn't want you to log in and download a code and then re-verify as you join some club?
Drives you nuts, I know.
And then once you purchase that set of steak knives...
Well, Dick Van Dyke Appliance World is a lot simpler. You find a verified great deal and they beat it. Just show them the deal you saw. A newspaper clipping or the online cart price will do, and then you're good.
At Dick Van Dyke Appliance World, it's one of those instances where you see a best deal guarantee and...
you get the best deal.
This is Dennis Rieken, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. Our exclusive 10-year protection plan comes free with most appliance purchases. Whether it's a GE, Whirlpool, Frigidaire, Bosch, or any of our 30 brands, I guarantee we will beat any competitor's deal. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
You've changed thousands of diapers, cut hundreds of crusts, played hours of peekaboo and duck duck goose, because you'd do anything for your kids. That's why it's important to protect them with life insurance from State Farm. The Brian Hansen State Farm Agency will make it easy and affordable to help protect your family no matter what the future holds. Because for the people you'd do anything for, life insurance could mean everything. Call me, State Farm Agent Brian Hansen in Champaign-Urbana today. For details, visit brianismyguy.com. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hi, it's Stevie J. So I took my mom into Audubell, owned by Jeff Hanley, who owns 13 locations around central Illinois. She's had so much trouble hearing for so long. Audubell, A-U-D-I-B-E-L, for hearing. And some of the new technologies, they've got AI now for some of these hearing aids, and they're virtually invisible. It's unbelievable, and it helped my mom. It helped her incredibly. We've been to other places. This is by far the best place I've ever been in for hearing help. Go to audibelteam.com. That's A-U-D-I-B-E-L. If you want more information about Audubell and how Jeff Hanley and his amazing culture and amazing team that they have, go to audibelteam.com. That's A-U-D-I-B-E-L, audibelteam.com. You'll be so happy you found Audubell. Amazing work. They got a location in Champaign. Go to audibelteam.com. That's audibelteam.com.
Get the roof your home deserves by Roof Doctors, your residential roofing specialist that has always offered the best warranties in the industry, like our non-prorated 50-year warranty. Our customers love that we are family-owned and locally operated. We make our customer needs our top priority. With over 30 years experience and the best customer service, give Roof Doctors a call today for your free estimate at 328-7529. In your community and for your community, Roof Doctors.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday morning 7 to 9, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Back on the drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. You can call me Sal on the U of I Line Link text line. Say, hey, Lon, you look better than I did at 53. Maybe I should rethink the whole I don't drink thing. I'd agree with that.
I'm going to tell you right now, it is amazing that I look like I look compared to what I've done to myself in life. So, yeah, I've always said that. Yeah. It's caught up with me, though, the last couple of years, the weight. So I gotta do something about that.
Nah, you're good. You're good.
Gotta do something.
We do want to go back to the Tapman's Towing phone line because we got Big Def, loyal listener.
Let's go.
He's got some thoughts, Barry Lunny and whatnot. Big Def, how you doing? I know you're out there on the East Coast, thereabouts in Philly area. Thanks for listening, number one. Thanks for joining us, number two.
Hey, thank you so much, Derek. Yeah, it's great to be here, and I know you guys are sick of me texting in for every 2 seconds, so I figured you could hear my dulcet tones of my voice right now.
Let's do it.
I'm glad there's not a beep that goes off every time Big Def texts in, because he does fire in a few. Can you imagine? It'd be like,
I do.
Beep, beep.
I try. I'm going to start taping my thumbs up when the show comes on, just to help you guys out.
No, we enjoy every one of them, believe me.
well, Lon, first off, happy birthday, man.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Made it another year.
I want to know your entire listening audience blood alcohol level right now. How many times have you said you were 53 today?
I think I've only done it once. Is that right?
More than
once.
Okay, maybe
self-restraint.
Maybe twice. It helps on a Monday. It helps on a Monday.
But yeah, guys. I mean, yeah, we're out here in Philly. We're nervously waiting to hope the Phillies come home with a 2-0 lead over the Braves after tonight. So that's good. I'll keep it short. I know I text a lot, so I'll keep it short. You guys know my thoughts on Barry Lunny, but here's the thing. Here's my big problem. I'm starting to take it easier on Aaron Henry because he's got a whole team of former defensive coordinators on his staff, right, and in his corner. I'm starting to take it easy on him. I still believe in Brett, believe it or not. On the long term, I believe in him wholeheartedly, and I still think he'll get us there. Here's the thing with Barry Lunny, and this is a microcosm of everything I've been saying. So, what has Luke trained in? What did Luke Altmaier train in for 3 years under Lane Kiffin before coming to Illinois? An RPO-heavy scheme, right? That's what he did for 3 years as a backup, getting a few starts. It was a run-heavy RPO. That's basically what they did. So he comes to Illinois. We have a pass pro problem on our line. That's the biggest problem. They run block. They don't run block great either, but they do it better than they pass block. And so what mitigates that, where you can still pass from a run blocking set? RPO. So, and then, all right, so our skill players, our O-line's tough, our running backs aren't as explosive as we thought they'd be, but our skill players you can trust to go out and get a catch, like 2 or 3 of them, right? Then the others can't get separation. So you delay the defense on diagnosing run and pass to give them a step for the guys who can't get separation, and the other guys just like fly way open. What does that? RPO. What did Jay Lehman and all of us talk about that Barry Lunny really hasn't run all year?
Nope.
Aside from that wonderful opening script that got us to the goal line a couple days ago that Brett literally went in and asked for, RPO. Yep. So basically, I know we talk about Barry Lunny's play calling, individual play calling, but the fate of this offense was decided by Barry Lunny before the first play was ever called. And that's my biggest problem with him, is that the philosophy did not match the strengths and weaknesses he had on his team. So was that brief? Was that short? How do you feel?
That was a great point. That's a great point and a great call, Big Def. That is well said, my friend.
Big Def, in your opinion, before I'll throw this back to you one more time, is that something you can implement mid-season, in your opinion? Could he pivot?
100%. 100. There is not a single. He has everything in his playbook. That's the thing. Everything in his playbook. He can just dial up a lot of the plays and formations he had last year. He just every formation he's run, he has some RPO plays lined up in, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And yeah, it's something. Yes, there's a little bit of install. There's a little bit of that, but you did a lot of that last year, and you know, you have that in almost every formation of your playbook, and you can find that everywhere. So, yeah, I truly believe they can turn on a dime. I think the schematic path is there. I just don't think it's going to be. I hope it is. I don't think it's going to be taken, but it's there. The fixes are there. So that is one thing. That is the one thing I agree with Barry Lunny about, is that yes, the fixes are there and they're ready.
Big Def, we appreciate your loyal listening, your loyal texting, and the call today. Go Phillies tonight, my man.
Thank you so much. Go Phils. Have a good night, guys.
All right, buddy.
You too.
Thanks for the birthday wish. That's awesome.
There you go. Big Def.
Listen, I love that point of view. I love that. And we can ask Jay tomorrow.
We should.
That'd be a great question to ask Jay.
We will.
Tomorrow.
We will. Let's catch a quick break. We'll come back, play Coach Bielema when we return. This is The Drive.
The hammering, the sawing, the drilling, all the sounds of the workplace are music to our ears. You can be a part of construction projects large and small as a Carpenters Local 243 member. Learn to excel with apprentice and journeyman training. Members enjoy all the benefits this internationally recognized union has to offer. It's a life-changing decision. Join the Local 243 family tradition. Contact Carpenters Local 243 at 217-356-5463.
Reach your savings goals. Busey Bank's CD specials can help. Watch your money grow with competitive rates and offers. Visit Busey.com/CD rates. Visit your local service center or call 1-800-67-BUSEY today. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868.
Kelsey Furniture in downtown Tuscola sells Tempur-Pedic beds. What's it like?
I'm going to tell you right now, Stevie, that thing is the best thing I've ever slept on in my life. My wife and I both have said we've never had better night's sleep. And the people at Kelsey's were fantastic. Brian is the guy that helped us. You know, as much as I did my research, he had a world of knowledge about beds themselves. Oh, man, it's like sleeping on a cloud, man.
Kelsey Furniture, downtown Tuscola.
We all have a mission in life, something that drives us to explore, to grow, to love. And when we discover it, we're made whole. At OSF Healthcare, we want you to be the best you possible. We're here for you on your schedule to make your life just a little bit easier. Whatever your mission is, we're here to support it. Your life, our mission. Learn more at osfhealthcare.org/mission.
Make a difference in your community and start a rewarding career when you join RPC's Early Childhood Education Team. The Regional Planning Commission will be interviewing for open positions within the program at a hiring event on Wednesday, October 11th at the Early Childhood Education Center, 103 South Country Fair Drive. Attendees are encouraged to bring resumes and references. Don't miss this hiring event for the Early Childhood Education Program with the Regional Planning Commission. It's October 11th from 9 to noon at 103 South Country Fair Drive in Champaign.
PDR Automotive has now been serving the Champaign-Urbana area for over 50 years. To give you some perspective, 50 years ago ended the U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War, and it was when Secretariat won the Triple Crown. So what does that mean for you and your vehicle? Whether you need a carburetor overhauled or your new vehicle computer system diagnosed or programmed, PDR Automotive has the experienced, knowledgeable staff that can handle all your automotive needs. Online at pdrauto.com, they are what's best for your truck or car. They are PDR.
You moved into your new home using 2 men in a truck. The garage was clean. Then,
I love the new recliner. What are we going to do with this old one?
Put it in the garage for now.
over time, this cycle continued.
Garage for now, put it in the garage for now, put it in the garage for now, put it in the garage for now.
It happens. You got junk. Call 2 Men in a Truck to get rid of all your junk. Residential or commercial, 2 Men in a Truck has a solution for your junk removal. Contact them at 2menchampagne.com.
2 Men in a Truck.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Sit back and relax and take the drive with Lonte and Derek Piper. Weekdays 4 to 6 right here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Back on the drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. About 10 minutes left in the show. Got to get you some Brett Bielema from today. He spoke with the media over there at Memorial Stadium. Here is your Carolina head coach, Brett Bielema.
Enough negatives that created us to lose a game that I think, things could have bounced our way a little bit. You'd like to have them come forward, but we didn't come out in a positive light. I thought we did make strides. We dramatically reduced the number of penalties. Really have made a conscientious effort to stop eliminating things that have caused us to have failure, and that was a big one. I think also defensively to have our guys go out there so many times in a row. I think it was 5 different series where they were given the ball, not just the series itself, but how they took over. One was after a fumbled kickoff, one was after a block punt, one was after a fumbled completion on 3rd down. They just kept going out there, sawing wood, and taking care of business. So hopefully that's a sign of more things good to come in that regard. I know they've worked really hard to get to where they are. Offensively, I think the opening drive was what we kind of practiced all week, and then to have that fail with being just short of the goal line, taking over the ball on the 25-yard line, moving it all the way down to 6-inch line, just set us back. I think we had 6 3-and-outs, and it was hard to find some rhythm. Obviously, right before the half, we did get a little bit of a couple plays there to get on the board, and then just couldn't sustain it, especially with some turnovers that we gave. That the defense gave them an opportunity to capitalize on. We couldn't do it. So that was the tail in the game. I think where we're at right now, we just got to continue to try to find and discover and find new ways to move the ball, score points, and on defense, continue to build our depth, especially with guys getting a little. This is a big week for us, just because it's week 7 of our preparation, right? And to have 6 games behind us, it's important for our guys to stay fresh and be ready to play. We got this, and obviously the Wisconsin game before we get a bye week, so this is the longest stretch of the season for our guys physically. We got to be very cognizant of that. I literally go through and on Sundays kind of go back to my last 2 years here and look at this week in particular to see how we not only what we do from a practice standpoint, but what we do from meetings, scheduling, things we may back off of, we might move forward with, and kind of playing that into this week's schedule as well. So we'll make some adjustments and tweaks to our schedule. I think our guys felt it yesterday. They'll feel it tomorrow when we come over and practice, and we'll go from there. With that, open up for questions.
But on Saturday or Friday, you said offensive line depth was a concern going into training camp. When did that become a concern, and why?
I don't know if it was going into training camp. I think when we became depleted, we lost Zai. For us, Des Schuster was a guy that we were planning on, even though it wasn't. We've had guys of his caliber come in and play. I think those two things in particular, we were really short at tackle. We had, obviously, Julian coming back. We were going to move Zai out to tackle, which was an unproven commodity, and then he wasn't even in the lineup through all fall camp. If I said fall, I didn't mean, but I meant going into the season. Gotcha. I think last spring when we recruited, we had two guys that were committed to us. They're plug and play guys that are now playing at other schools that were committed to us. We lost that through the beautiful world we're all experiencing right now in recruiting. One of the things I do monitor is guys that that we had in our program that weren't able to follow through. So that's a little bit of that. But I think we were looking for answers, and then when we didn't get those answers had to come from within. We just don't have enough depth.
Realistically, could be in sort of with Des for a timeline, just given he's not practicing.
Yeah, Des is a big dude, and because of what he's been suffering from, he hasn't been able to do conditioning. So I think the big part of him is just going to be knowing the playbook, but also getting his body in a physical level to play. I don't think it would be this week. I don't know if it could be next week, but hopefully maybe on the back end of the bye week, you could probably hopefully look at something there.
Coach, when you're struggling like you have this year, do you worry about guys pointing fingers, doing all that?
Yeah, it's a great question. I've literally had dinner last night. I brought my Illini Council and captains in to our staff room. We always have dinner in the building on Sunday. So we basically meet offense, defense, special teams, and then we usually take a dinner break and kind of take an hour to kind of just take a moment. We have football games going, guys eat in the building. We wanted to eat together. We call it family dinner after victory. We have it a victory meal, but that's not near as nice when we don't win. It's a lesser meal, but the brotherhood is there. So I brought in our Illini Council and our captains, so it's about 15 guys. We kind of shot the breeze for a little bit, then I kind of get into the meat and potatoes of anything from A to Z. I always say it's from the time you come in the parking lot till the time you leave, anything structurally, schematically, timing-wise that we can talk through. And there were some good suggestions, but one of the things that has been very strong in that conversation, but also several individual conversations, is, Coach, from where we were when you got here to where we are now, just like the amount of that goes on, I think is at a minimum. I don't really see. There's guys that are frustrated. We're all frustrated. Sure. I thought Dylan Rosiak had a great quote about the pissed off feeling, right? Like that's him to a T, and that's a guy that is just continuing to build rapport in our building. I thought Casey had some really good comments after the game about focusing on the task at hand and focusing on himself. Isaiah Adams, I know, said some things in the locker room right after the game. Just the character we build upon is really, really strong. I'm not overly sheriff in the outside world, but I think the faith in our guys and in each other and our coaches is pretty strong, and I don't see that wavering.
Coach, when the season's kind of not going the way that you thought it would go, is there a feeling as a head coach that you want to take more control over game planning and play calling on game day, or is it you still lean pretty hard on the coordinators? I don't. You can ask my coaches, but I've never called a game when we were, at this time. A year ago, we were obviously 5-1. A year before that, we were 2-4. We're 2-4 once again. Obviously, I don't want to be where we're at, but it is what it is. And I would tell you that in all 3 seasons, my demeanor and my approach to how we game plan and what we do hasn't changed at all. I think offensively, defensively, there might be certain things each week that I feel like, hey, I really need to talk to them about this. I think in this case, Maryland, it's a dramatically different offense than what we just faced, right? So to have the game plans be in the same realm isn't really real. On defense, on the flip side, offensively, this is a group that has some carryover. And then, even though we didn't play him a year ago, the coordinator that's there now, he's been there the entire time with Locke. So there's a lot of carryover defensively since Mike's been there over the last 4 years. So I don't think so. I think
urge would be there, but again, this is my 15th year as a head coach. You hire good coaches to be good coaches, and that's what you got to do.
You mentioned after the game, maybe examining changes. What's come of that in terms of those conversations with the office?
Yeah, I would think, after any game, win or loss, you're going to have changes. You're going to have, but I think for us, particular on Saturday after we got done watching the film, Aaron, he's going to share it with you. Aaron actually left our building, I think, at 2 a.m. Saturday night, drove to Indy, flew home, buried his grandfather, came back late that night, so he was gone all Saturday. So, I didn't have much. I had interaction with the defense staff. We talked, but it was really got done with it. We met as a staff, and then I sat down with the offense and looked at the game. And I'd say 3 areas we looked at were schematics, personnel, and then also, obviously, in-game adjustments. That was our big three, and I think that's the same that you go through on a weekly basis because we're at a 2-4 team, and we've struggled to put points on the board. It draws a little more attention. But I think we really got to, through 6 games, I think we know who our strengths are, but we also know probably what our weaknesses are. I think we got to do our best to maximize those strengths, minimize those weaknesses, and